Hello, this is the more in-depth version of the previous video I made, in which I will go into all input validation and testing for the user inputs. This video could very well be multiple parts because the software I'm using has a maximum length of 15 minutes, so if there's multiple videos, that's probably why. So I'll start off with the sign up section, because that's what the average user would start with. The only constraints here are that the email address needs to be have the right format. So a way to test that would be just typing in a random word, and these have to all be below 25 letters. Oh no, and the username also has to be unique, and these have to match. So first I'll make these not match, and I can make the username way too long. Right, that's way too long, and everything there was wrong. If I go onto this, no, not that, wrong one, this one, and I go to people, there's an account with the username frozen, so I'll try and make my username frozen. That should fail. I'll make the passwords the same this time. I'll just go with H and H, and the email address, again, the only constraint is that it is a proper format, like this. So these three are correct because these matched, and this was the right format, but this wasn't. So now we can retry, pick a username that doesn't exist, like H. Again, for speed, I'll just make it a single character, and we'll put in a valid email address. And that all works. And just as proof, this one will be way longer and way slower, just because I'm checking everything. And at some point this should show up. A new account with a username of H. Yep, there we go. What next? I can quickly show you that if the password is too long, that's also a problem. Like, that's definitely more than 25 characters, and that was a problem. Login. So if this is pretty simple, if the things aren't correct, if the login details aren't correct, then it doesn't work. If they are, it does. It's pretty simple. Next up is this, and for this one, like with the last one, I'm going to log into a different account that has more data, because it's easier to test. So here we go. This, I'm gonna go through this. You can like check, go in. You can check it yourself if you want to make sure that these all work. The only thing that's interesting about these, I'll quickly add data. I'll test this properly afterwards. The only thing with this is it's a bit weird with like capitals and lowercase. It treats them separately, but that's not too bad. It still orders them. It's still easy for the user to use, and once you see it, it's easy to interpret. So I'm alright with that. Other than that, it works perfectly. You can switch between them without them both activating at the same time, which was a problem for a bit for me. But yeah, it all works. It's all good. This, I'm going to go through now. So, we can search for anything here. We can search for example, phone, and it should come up with the 70th entry ID. There we go. It is case sensitive, so if I were to type in normal phone, nothing would come up, but I prefer that, honestly. We can search for IDs, so if I were to search for X in an ID, it should come up with nothing, because there is no ID of X. There we go. But if I were to search for an ID of, I don't know, let me check, 72 for example, it should come up with the correct thing. There we go. And there's no real like limits on what you can type in. Like even for ID, I could type in a word and just nothing will happen. But if I was to type in a correct number, it'll work. Next is websites, but I'll quickly just do this. So let's say I want to search for Discord. That should come up with something. If I were to type in just some random thing that there isn't a website of, nothing will come up. That's expected. If I were to type in Discord, something should come up. There we go. 70 second entry. We can do the exact same for username. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, K for example. If we were to type username K, the 63rd entry should show up. There we go. And if I were to type in, for example, just plot, no, that won't come up. Or if I was to just type in a number, it wouldn't come up because there is no username of that. And just quickly, to prove that the encryption works, this is how it's visualized for the user, because that's what they need to see. But if we were to look in the database, just quickly let it refresh. This site is slow, as well as my loading speed, so we will have to wait a minute for this. That was a bit awkward. Come on. There we go. As you can see, it's all encrypted. Everything apart from the entry IDs, but that's not particularly sensitive information, so I didn't feel the need to encrypt those. All of this I thought should be encrypted. We tested website, username. You can't search by extra info. That was just a logic decision on my part. I can't understand why anyone would search for little extra notes. But anyway, password, we can search for just something that doesn't exist and it should come up with nothing. Something that does exist, it will come up with something. That's a bad example because they're full of T's. We'll say Booker. Try to search for the Booker password. And boom, it comes up. Very nice. So I think that's all tested for this. There will be a written version in my write-up, but this is just the, what's it called version? The video version.